These are solutions to Milham's Calc 2 quiz number 4. And number 1, integral of x cubed, radical x squared plus 25. So that's the second one on the chart. X is 5 tangent theta, dx is 5 secant squared theta d theta. So right here, plug in for x 5 tangent theta. So I get 125 tangent cubed theta, that's x cubed. Then x squared is 25 tangent squared theta plus 25. Dx is 5 secant squared theta d theta. So this becomes factor out to 25. 25 times tangent squared theta plus 1, which is secant squared. So I have 125 tangent cubed square root of 25 secant squared theta, 5 secant squared theta d theta. And the square root of this just becomes 5 secant theta. Right? So take out the 125 times 5 is 3125 tangent cubed secant cubed d theta. Right? So I can split that into a secant theta, tangent theta, grab a tangent and a secant, you're left with tangent squared, secant theta times tangent theta. Okay, so since the derivative of secant is secant theta, tangent theta, I want everything behind my pen here to say only secant theta. Okay, that's already secant. I've got tangent squared. Fortunately, I have tangent squared as secant squared theta minus 1. Okay, so now all of this stuff right here has only the trig function secant theta. So I'll do a u substitution, u equals secant theta, du is secant theta, tangent theta, d theta. So after substitution, I now get u squared minus 1 times u squared times all of this stuff, which is du. Distribute u to the 4th minus u squared, and then integrate. So 3125 u to the 5th over 5 minus u cubed over 3 plus c. Change u back. U was secant theta, so I have 3125, 1/5 secant to the 5th theta minus 1/3 secant cubed theta plus c. So calculus is done. Now to start trig. X is 5 tangent theta, which means tangent of theta is x over 5. Draw my triangle. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. Do the trade secret. Radical x squared plus 25 is more than likely the hypotenuse, but double check. Square this, you get x squared. Square this, you get 25. Add them up. X squared plus 25, which is equal to the hypotenuse squared. Okay, so secant is the reciprocal of the cosine. Therefore, secant is hypotenuse over adjacent, since cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay, so plug this thing in everywhere that I see secant, which is here and here. So final answer, I is 3125, 1/5 times secant, which is now radical x squared plus 25 over 5 to the 5th power, minus 1/3 secant cubed, get radical x squared plus 25 over 3 cubed plus c. And you could have left it like that, and that would be fine. Number 2, this looks like 3 squared minus x squared. So the substitution is x equals 3 sine theta. That was the first one from the list. Dx equals 3 cosine theta d theta. So this is x squared on top is 9 sine squared theta. That's my x squared. Dx hanging off to the side is 3 cosine theta d theta. That's my dx. And then underneath, radical 9 minus x squared, 9 sine squared theta. Factor out the 9. 9 times 1 minus sine squared theta, and 1 minus sine squared is cosine squared. Okay, and then I cancel this with this because this is the same as 3 cosine theta, which matches this 3 cosine theta. So they just cancel out. So I have 9 taking out sine squared theta, and sine squared theta, to integrate that, I change it to 1 minus cosine 2 theta over 2. Bring the 2 out with a 9, so 9 over 2. Integral of 1 d theta is theta. Integral of cosine 2 theta, negative cosine 2 theta is negative sine 2 theta times 1/2. Again, the opposite of the chain rule for derivatives. If I got to this stage for derivatives, I would multiply by 2 by the chain rule, therefore when I integrate, multiply by 1/2. Okay, and I need to change sine of 2 theta in order to triangulate. Sine of 2 theta from trig is 2 sine theta cosine theta. You can put that in your cheat sheet. Very conveniently, the 1/2 and the 2 cancel out. So I have 9 over 2 theta minus sine theta cosine theta plus c. So calculus is done, trig starts. X was equal to 3 sine theta, meaning sine of theta is x over 3. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, do the trade secret. Look for a funny looking radical in the original. Radical 9 minus x squared. Just put it here, but let's double check. This thing squared is 9 minus x squared, obviously. Square this, it's x squared. Add them up, the x squareds cancel out, and you have 9, which is 3 squared. Right, so, and by the way, yeah, theta is inverse sine of x over 3, because sine of theta is x over 3, therefore theta is inverse sine of x over 3. So my integral I is 9 over 2, theta, inverse sine of x over 3, minus sine theta cosine theta. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse, x over 3. Cosine theta is adjacent over hypotenuse, so radical 9 minus x squared divided by 3. And just that's about it. 3 times 3 is 9. So 9 over 2, inverse sine of x over 3, minus x over 9, radical 9 minus x squared, plus c is the answer. All right, so that was Calc 2, quiz number 4, solutions.